The stifling heat of a New England summer hung heavy over Fall River, Massachusetts. In 1892, the air was thick and oppressive, making every movement feel like a chore. The townsfolk went about their daily routines, unaware that their lives were about to be irrevocably changed. It was a time of gaslight and horse-drawn carriages, a world seemingly far removed from the brutality that would soon stain the town's history. The streets were lined with quaint houses and small businesses, each a testament to the town's industrious spirit. On August 4th, that tranquility was shattered. The day began like any other, but it would end in horror and disbelief. The peace of a quiet neighborhood was irrevocably broken by a series of events so grisly, so inexplicable, that they would forever be etched in the annals of American crime. Neighbors gathered in hushed groups, their faces pale with shock and fear. It began with an unsettling discovery. A maid's scream pierced the morning air, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Andrew Borden, a prominent businessman, was found brutally murdered in his own home. He was a man of considerable wealth and influence, known for his stern demeanor and frugal lifestyle. He lay lifeless on the living room sofa, his face disfigured by multiple blows from a hatchet. The scene was one of unimaginable violence, a stark contrast to the orderly life he had led. The horror of the scene was amplified by the discovery of another victim. The police, already reeling from the brutality of Andrew's murder, were unprepared for what they found next. Upstairs, Andrew's wife, Abby, had met a similarly gruesome fate. She was found in a guest bedroom, her body bearing the same savage marks of a hatchet. The Borden house, once a symbol of respectability and comfort, was transformed into a scene of carnage. The walls that had witnessed family gatherings and quiet evenings now bore silent witness to an unspeakable crime. Blood stained the floors and walls, a chilling testament to the savagery of the attacks. The sheer brutality of the murders left the community in a state of shock and disbelief. News of the murders spread like wildfire through the town, leaving in their wake a tide of fear, suspicion, and morbid curiosity. Newspapers quickly picked up the story, and soon the entire nation was gripped by the details of the gruesome crime. Who could have committed such a heinous act? The question hung heavy in the air, as everyone from neighbors to distant relatives fell under suspicion. As investigators descended upon the crime scene, all eyes turned towards the surviving members of the Borden household. The police began their meticulous search for clues, hoping to piece together the events that led to such a brutal outcome. Among them was Andrew's 32-year-old daughter, Lizzie, an unmarried Sunday school teacher who presented a calm, almost detached demeanor in the face of unimaginable tragedy. Her composure was both unsettling and intriguing to those around her. Little did anyone know that Lizzie Borden was about to be thrust into the center of a storm, her name forever linked to one of the most baffling unsolved mysteries in American history. The trial that followed would captivate the nation, raising questions about justice, gender, and the very nature of evil. To understand the dark events of that summer, one must first delve into the complex dynamics of the Borden family. The Borden family, despite their outward appearance of respectability and wealth, was a cauldron of simmering tensions and unspoken resentments. The roots of their discord ran deep, entangling each member in a web of emotional turmoil. Andrew Borden, a self-made man known for his frugality bordering on stinginess, had amassed considerable wealth through his dealings in real estate and manufacturing. His success, however, came at a personal cost. Andrew's rigid and controlling nature alienated those closest to him, creating an atmosphere of tension and unease within the household. Yet despite their financial comfort, the Borden household was far from a picture of domestic bliss. The modesty of their home, despite Andrew's wealth, was a constant source of frustration for his daughters, who longed for a more comfortable and socially prestigious lifestyle. Tensions simmered beneath the surface, fueled by Andrew's controlling nature and strained relationships with his daughters, Lizzie and Emma. The sisters felt stifled by their father's strict rules and lack of emotional warmth, leading to a growing sense of isolation and resentment. Adding to the discord was Abby Borden, Andrew's second wife, who had married into the family after the death of Lizzie and Emma's biological mother. Abby's presence in the household was a constant reminder of their mother's absence, and her attempts to assert her authority only deepened the rift. The stepdaughters viewed Abby as an outsider, a gold digger who had married their father for his money. This perception was exacerbated by Andrew's apparent favoritism towards Abby, which further alienated Lizzie and Emma. The relationship between Lizzie and her father was particularly fraught. Lizzie, who had a strong-willed and independent nature, often clashed with Andrew's authoritarian approach. Their interactions were marked by a palpable tension, with neither willing to compromise or understand the other's perspective. Lizzie, unmarried at an age when most women were married with children, chafed under her father's strict rules and expectations. Her desire for independence and a life of her own clashed with the conservative values that Andrew held dear, leading to frequent conflicts. She yearned for more independence and social freedom, aspirations that clashed with Andrew's conservative values. Lizzie's frustration grew as she saw her peers enjoying the freedom she was denied, fueling her resentment towards her father. The tension between them was palpable, a simmering resentment that festered beneath everyday interactions. Every conversation, every decision seemed to be a battleground, with neither side willing to yield. Money, or the lack thereof, further strained family ties. Andrew's tight-fistedness was a constant source of friction, particularly when it came to financial decisions that favored Abby's side of the family. Lizzie and Emma felt slighted by their father's financial decisions, particularly his tendency to favor Abby's side of the family with gifts and financial assistance. This perceived injustice deepened their sense of betrayal and fueled their animosity towards their stepmother. The sisters harbored a deep sense of resentment, believing that their stepmother had manipulated their father against them. This belief, whether grounded in reality or not, created a toxic environment where mistrust and bitterness thrived, setting the stage for the tragic events that would soon unfold. In the weeks leading up to the murders, an unsettling series of events cast a pall over the Borden home. The once quiet and orderly household was now shrouded in an air of tension and unease, as if the very walls were whispering secrets of impending doom. A mysterious illness, suspected to be food poisoning, had struck several members of the household, including Andrew, Abby, and Lizzie herself. The symptoms were severe, causing great distress and concern. The family was bedridden, suffering from bouts of vomiting and severe stomach pains, which only added to the growing sense of dread. The cause of the illness remained unknown, but whispers of poison began to circulate among the family and their neighbors. Speculation ran rampant, with some suggesting that someone within the household might be responsible. The air was thick with suspicion, and trust was in short supply. Adding to the tension was a series of break-ins at the Borden residence. These incidents were not just random acts of burglary, they seemed targeted and deliberate. The intruders left behind a trail of chaos, further unsettling the already fragile household. Andrew, known for his distrust of banks, kept large sums of cash in the house, making it a tempting target for thieves. His decision to store money at home was well known, and it made the family vulnerable to repeated thefts. Each break-in heightened the family's anxiety as they wondered who could be behind these invasions. These incidents heightened the sense of unease within the home, creating an atmosphere of paranoia and suspicion. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow cast by the flickering lamps seemed to harbor a threat. The family members began to look at each other with wary eyes, unsure of who they could trust. The relationship between Lizzie and her stepmother continued to deteriorate. Their interactions were marked by cold stares and sharp words, a far cry from the warmth and affection one would expect in a family. The tension between them was palpable, and it seemed only a matter of time before it would reach a breaking point. Arguments between the two women became more frequent and heated, their animosity a poorly kept secret within the household. The servants and other family members could not help but notice the escalating conflict, which added to the overall sense of discord. The household was a powder keg, ready to explode at any moment. Lizzie made no secret of her disdain for Abby, often referring to her as Mrs. Borden rather than mother. This deliberate distancing was a clear indication of the lack of familial bond between them. Lizzie's coldness and Abby's attempts to assert her authority only fueled their mutual resentment. Meanwhile, Lizzie's behavior became increasingly erratic in the days leading up to the murders. She was often seen pacing the halls, muttering to herself and displaying signs of agitation. Her actions were unpredictable, and her mood swings were alarming to those around her. She was seen by neighbors acting strangely, purchasing poison from a local drugstore and burning a dress that she claimed had been stained beyond repair. These actions, though seemingly innocuous at the time, raised eyebrows and added to the growing list of odd behaviors that would later be scrutinized. These actions, seemingly innocuous at the time, would later become central pieces of evidence in the case against her. The community, already on edge from the series of unsettling events, would soon find themselves at the heart of one of the most infamous murder trials in history. The morning of August 4th dawned like any other in the Borden household. Andrew Borden left to attend to his business affairs, leaving Lizzie, Abby, and their live-in maid Bridget Sullivan to their daily routines. Bridget, feeling unwell, retired to her attic bedroom for a nap, leaving Lizzie and Abby alone in the house. What transpired within the walls of the Borden home that morning remains shrouded in mystery. Around 11 a.m., Abby Borden's lifeless body was discovered in the upstairs guest bedroom. She had been struck repeatedly in the back of the head with a hatchet, the force of the blows so savage that her face was nearly unrecognizable. Downstairs, Lizzie claimed to have found her father's body on the living room sofa. He too had been hacked to death, his face and head bearing the brunt of the attacker's fury. The murder weapon, a hatchet believed to have come from the Borden's own cellar, was found discarded in the basement, its blade still stained with blood. The brutality of the murders sent shockwaves through the community. The image of the elderly couple, slain in broad daylight within the supposed sanctuary of their own home, was almost too horrific to comprehend. As news of the murders spread, speculation ran rampant. Who could have committed such a heinous crime? Please like, comment and share this video if you enjoyed it.